Welcome back to another Crypto Day video. So today I'm doing a video on DCA and Bitcoin. Is it the best strategy? And the reason I'm doing this, a couple of weeks ago I did a Bitcoin buying guide video where I talked about setting levels. I talked through my plan of buying over this year, and somebody reached out to me and said they liked the video but they weren't comfortable or confident enough to set levels. There is a lot of conflicting advice and conflicting information out there. So they said that they'd always heard that DCA in Bitcoin is the best strategy, and could they just do that and would that generate decent returns? So in this video I want to talk about three essentially kind of automated hands-off ways of buying Bitcoin. So this is DCA in Bitcoin, and we're going to look at three slightly different kind of strategies. So let's talk through those. Now I've got these figures basically over the last 8 years. So this encompasses 2 full bull runs, or 2-year, 4-year cycles, I should say. So that's bear and bull cycles within each of those cycles. So beginning of 2018 to the end of 2025, so up to the most recent, the end of the most recent cycle. Strategy 1 is just putting $100 a week every week through that period. Strategy 2 is putting $200 a week, but just for the first 2 years of each cycle. And then strategy 3, $400 a week, but just for the first year of each cycle. So you'd be doing $400 a week for a year, then having 3 years off, then $400 a year, 3 years off. So let's have a look at how they would have performed over the last 8 years. So strategy 1, so $100 a week, dollar cost averaging. All these figures are based on buying on a Monday at market open. So we started 1st of January 2018 and we ended at 31st of December 2025. We invested a total of 41,700 over 417 weeks, equal amount each week, and that would have been a total at the end of that period of $204,845. So that's a 391% return over that 8 years, so pretty decent. Strategy 2, so $200 a week in this case, but just over the first 2 years of each cycle, so beginning of 2018 to the end of 2019, and then again from the beginning of 2022 to the end of 2023. And in this case we invested $41,600. That's $100 less actually, and that's because if you did it weekly on a Monday, I believe you had an extra week that crept in because of one of the leap years, but if you're doing it every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks, that's not the case. So that was 41,600 over 208 weeks, and that would have generated a total of $279,455 by the end of that period, which is 572% return. And then strategy 3, $400 a week, but just for the first year of each cycle, so that's 2018 and then 2022, and again that was 41,600 invested, in this case only over 104 weeks, that's 2 years, and that would have generated a total amount at the end of that period of $267,125, or 542% return. So let's see how they stacked up together. So the first row here is continuous DCA, and that's our $100 a week. The 2-year cycle is the $200 a week for 2 years, and then this 1 year cycle, $400 for just 1 year. So the total invested, $100 different as I explained earlier, but $100 different as I explained earlier, but essentially the same amount. The final value here, and then profit. So continuous just DCA, and it's the easiest one to do every week or every month or every day, however you want to set it up. You invest a set amount, and that would have generated decent profits, 163,000 profit, and you would have accumulated 2.3496 Bitcoin. But if you did it over just the first 2 years of each cycle, you would have made $237,855 profit. That's 572% return, and that would have accumulated, getting on for almost 1 Bitcoin more, so 3.2064. And then if you just did it, probably the most simple in a way, the first year of each cycle, so you've only got 1 year and then you have 3 years away, not worry about it, then 1 more year, 3 years away, you'd have generated $225,525 of profit. That's a 542% return, and you'd have accumulated just over 3 Bitcoin. So what's the verdict? So the 1 year concentrated strategy delivered exceptional returns with a minimal time commitment. So you're just doing 1 year out of 4. But the 2 year cycle strategy does edge it out. They're not that different, but it does edge it out because it captures the complete bear market accumulation phase. So in this instance, if we're looking at this year 2026, if you'd started at the beginning of 2026, which these strategies all did, obviously at the beginning of the year the price was still relatively high. It's come down throughout the year and will probably continue down for the rest of the year. And then the beginning of next year, it will still be probably relatively low compared to the beginning of this year. So by doing that over 2 years, you extend that kind of period and get more of that kind of downside. Now, you could probably make a better case for saying start 6 months into this year and then end, do it for a year and then 6 months into next year, and that may well produce a slightly better result. But for the sake of simplicity, I just want to kind of like do it in 4 years. But basically, doing the 1 year or 2 year concentrated strategies significantly outperforms traditional DCAing. That doesn't mean there's not a place for DCAing. A lot of people might be putting in a small amount from their kind of paycheck or their kind of income that might be paid out on a weekly or a monthly kind of basis, in which case this will work very well for you, because you might not have the money up front. You might not have 4 years worth of investment to put in the first year, or indeed 4 years worth to do over a 2 year period. But if you do have the money sat around, it would seem, and I think the stats bear this out, that by concentrating your liquidity towards the early part of a cycle when the prices are kind of like low, you will get better returns in the long term. So in this way, you don't have to set levels. You don't have to be confident that Bitcoin is going to sit at a certain price. You just get to this year. So in this case, this would be the beginning of this year, and you just say, right, I'm going to dollar cost average for 1 year, 2 years, whatever it is. Anyway, I hope that's been useful, something to think about. Let me know your strategies in the comments below. Always interested to hear how you're accumulating, what your plans are in terms of price targets and stuff like that. So hopefully hear from you in the comments below. You can give me a thumbs up, that would be fantastic. I hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video. But until then, have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.